We're going to learn some of the Hilchot Deot. It's in the first Chelek of Rambam, which you have right after the Halachot of Yesodei HaTorah, Hilchot Deot. So what I want to do is just selectively go through some of it, because if Teshuva is about figuring out where I am, understanding what my individual core challenges are hardwired in me, right? I have to identify them and I have to go after them to fix them so that I really change myself for the better. Then we also need to understand what the benchmarks are. What is HaKadosh Baruch Hu looking for? Where should I be in certain areas with certain habits and so on? So he says, okay, let's go to Daled. Perek Aleph, Halacha Daled. Haderech HaYeshara. You with me, Ami? You have it? Oh, let's see. Okay, hang on. Okay, Haderech HaYeshara, Himida Benonit. Right? The Derech Yashar means the straight road is the Midah Benonit, is the middle road. It sounds contradictory. How could the straight road be the middle road? You want to tell me to take on a hard and fast rule. You want to tell me to take on a hard and fast perspective, black and white. That's going to be straight. But if you tell me that the straight road is the middle road, how is it straight? The middle road means I tried a little bit of the extreme on that side. I tried a little bit of extreme on that side. I came back. That's anything but straight. In fact, that's this. Right? Person went this way, maybe. Person went that way. Ended up back in the middle. So how do you call that Derech HaYashar? It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Understand? If my optimum is to continue to grow, and therefore fail, and therefore struggle, and therefore discover, that's the point, right? With my goal being on the Derech HaYashar, which is the Midah Benonit. And in order to find the middle, Joe, what do I have to do?
Go to the right, to the left.
I have to go to the right and to the left, right? I have to go to the right and to the left. Otherwise, how can I identify the middle? So if I'm going to the right and to the left, is that a straight path? It can't be. It's anything but straight, right? That's what's so exciting. Midah benonit shebechol de'ah v'de'ah mikol ha'de'ot sheyesh la'adam. From all the ideas, from all the perspectives that a person has, you should find the middle. V'hi ha'de'ah shehi rechoka mishtei ha'ketzavot. This goes to what we were talking about yesterday in very big terms. V'hi ha'de'ah shehi rechoka mishtei ha'ketzavot. Richuk shaveh v'nei korva lo lezu v'lo lezu. What is that saying, honey?
The one that's furthest away from the two sides.
From the two extremes. A middle point between two extremes. Yeah? Lefichach tzivu chachamim harishonim.
But so the one that's on either one of those sides is the one that's most far away.
That's right. According to Rambam, exactly. Sheyeh adam sam deotav tamid u'misha'er otam sham. In other words, he's going to weigh his perspectives. U'misha'er otam, and consider them. U'mechaven otam b'derech ha'emsa'id k'dei sheyesh shalem b'gufo. Ketzad. How should that be? That he's complete. Ketzad lo yebal chema nochich os v'lo kemet she'eno magish elo benoni. What does that mean? He shouldn't be quick to anger, but he shouldn't be unresponsive either. He shouldn't say that because a person shouldn't get angry, he should become absolutely abstinent in this respect. And just let it go. Frozen style. Let it go. Just let it go. You can't just let it go. That's wrong. We have to have a tempered response. So whereas anger, Rambam writes that anger should never be sincere. Anger should always be feigned. It should always be forced, phonied. In other words, no one should ever actually act out of anger or speak out of anger, ever.
You do to emphasize a point.
Yeah, we should use an angry tone or an angry style to make a point clear, but never actually speak or act angrily. It's a beautiful thing. But he says here, "Ketzad lo yeh bal chema noach l'chos." Person shouldn't be hot-headed, quick to be angry. V'lo kemet, also shouldn't be like no one who is not living. She'no magish ela benoni, hardest place to be. Lo yichos ela el davar gadol. Don't get angry only on something that's big, that's worthy of it. Shera'oi l'chos alav kadesh lo yaseh ki yotzeh bo pam acheret. I'm sorry. Shlo yeh bal chema. Okay, sorry. Shlo yaseh ki yotzeh bo pam acheret. He says, don't be quick to anger. Only get angry at something big, and even there, don't. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be a real anger that's being expressed. In other words, if a child goes into the street, right? A little kid goes into the street. You want to impress upon the child that that's very dangerous, right? So to impress upon the child that's very dangerous, what are you going to do? You're going to feign anger. You're going to make believe that you're angry. But you never get angry. What do they say that the ka'as is midat gehinam? It's a tribute of hell. The person who's ka'as rejects God, doesn't have a place in the world. Scary, right? Scary. Right? We don't say that about anything else. But the ka'as loses himself. He's outside of himself. And also, from a little more Kabbalistic perspective, what the ka'as does is he forces the world to treat him with anger. The person who acts angrily, because it's real, it's a place to rebuke. There's a place to rebuke here. And the style of rebuke, if it's done in a certain way, with a certain show of emotion, it's going to be more impactful. But it has to be a show of emotion, and not where the person is losing himself. So this is one of the biggest challenges we have. לכן לא יתהווה אלא דברים שהגוף צריך להם, ואי אפשר להיות בזולתן. קניין שנאמר צדיק אוכל לשובע נפשו. What does that mean? What does that mean? Person shouldn't desire, in terms of food and drink, you shouldn't desire anything but what the body actually needs and can't be without. The body can't be without. Morning. The body can't be without. Yeah, those are the things that he should want, that he should desire. Sadiq ochel l'sova nafsho. The Sadiq eats for the satiation of his consciousness, of his spirit, not of his body. Huh?
Sam'an nafshi, we say.
Sam'an nafshi, not gufi. Excellent. וכן לא יעמל בעסקו אלא להשיג דבר שצריך לו לחיי שעה. כעניין שנאמר טוב מעט לצדיק. What is he saying here? Shouldn't work that hard. Should work hard enough to have what we need. We're in Hilchot Deot. Hard enough to have what I need. That's it. I shouldn't have to go more than that. Now, when you look at this in retrospect, you say, wow, all the times I spent chasing things I didn't need. I had hours in my day, so I feel the need to open another division, let's say, or to go into another area of real estate, or whatever it might be, right? Why? Things are going very well. Use the time for Torah, use the time for Chesed. We're not oriented that way. We're really not oriented that way. We're oriented that success begets the next attempt for a bigger success. We're not oriented to say, okay, I have enough money, let me go to the Bet Midrash, or let me go to the food pantry, or whatever it might be. לא יפזר ממונו. לא יחפוץ ידו ביותר. Don't jump for stuff. Don't jump to grab more. Jump to grab more. Enjoy what you have. Stabilize what you have. Again, if we owned these perspectives decades ago, life would have been happier, easier, right? Wouldn't it? Happier, easier, most of those reaches failed anyway. Right?
What's the limitation there?
Huh?
Right, we're always builders. We're serial entrepreneurs.
That's right.
How do you balance that?
That's right.
How do I know?
Because
when
you
not
know.
to?
Because you know.
Schedule.
Huh?
You have to make a schedule.
You have to make a
Like in my
schedule.
community, everyone's learning in the morning, learning at night. Okay, and learning on Sundays.
Great.
So the next step is if people start, or some people learn till 12 and then go to work. I mean, it's all about setting the schedule.
Okay, good.
That idea.
He's asking fundamentally if we hold, which we do, that a person should be an entrepreneur forever, constantly growing, constantly building. How does that balance with this? How does it balance?
Okay, well, there's the aspect of course, building yourself, which is paramount to everything. But I think
No.
I think the issue that I'm having is there's an opportunity in front of me.
Right,
I'm keeping a Torah schedule.
right,
I'm praying mincha, shacharit mincha arbit, right?
right.
How do I know,
He says, Lo yakpotz yado biyoter. What does that mean? I should keep growing, and I should keep building.
For the sake of more.
No, I should keep going. Right? You want to build your business, and that's right, and it's true. So what's the line that Rambam is talking about here? Where is it building and where is it reaching?
That's my question.
That's the question. That's always the question. In hindsight, it's very easy to value what was the reach and what was the appropriate ambitious attempt. That's the thing. That's the hard thing. He's not saying don't be ambitious. He's not saying don't grow. He's saying lo yachpotz yado biyoter, meaning don't go too far. What? I don't know. No, I don't know. Where is that place?
Different for everybody, maybe.
It's different, and it's different at different times. It's different at different times.
Yeah.
So what do you need? You need what we know Kadosh Baruch Hu provides is you need at that point to have that person or people in your life and say these are your Yedidei Nefesh, your success buddies, your soulmates that HaKadosh Baruch Hu puts in everybody's life.
You need checks and balances.
Yeah, you need to go to that person and say, Joe, listen, here's the story. He doesn't know anything about your business, doesn't care about your business, he's whatever he is, right? Say, okay, here's where we are. We're both very ambitious people, as HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to be, but is this a reach, in your opinion? Is this too much? Am I conning myself? Am I convincing myself that I need this? I need it? Is there something going on here? What do you say? What do you say? Those people we know, HaKadosh Baruch Hu always provides us, always. They're always in our lives. They're not competitors. They're more than friends. They could care nothing at all about what we actually do for a living and know nothing about it. They just know us very well. So those are very good benchmarks for things. And, but Isaac's question is the question, because to be unambitious, not the point, right? We're always looking to build, and we should. And we should. More Torah, more chesed, more success, absolutely. More love in my relationships, more sensitivity. Why not? Of course. So what's the line between building appropriately and not? That's the question. To reach, good. To reach, overreach, bad. Well, how do I know when it's an overreach?
Benoni.
Right.
When you're working like crazy and you start to feel I'm missing something from the other side, okay. Then
Right.
then
So
no.
beautiful. So you have to be able to feel it. You have to be willing to feel it.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be willing to feel it. And you know what's a telltale sign? I'm going to give you something very simple. A telltale sign. You're going to say, oh, what happened to this guy? Look at yourself in the mirror. Just look at yourself in the mirror. Look at yourself in the mirror. Sometimes you look at yourself in the mirror and you really look like crap. You really do. You're really not happy. You're fatigued. You're this, that. And you're rushing off back to do the same thing that you spent your day doing that brought this on. It's the gulf. We mentioned the nefesh, right? The nefesh colors my body. It frames my body, right? My spirit or my consciousness, right? It pushes through me. That's where the chen comes from. That's where the ziv comes from, right? It's my nefesh pushing through and showing on my panim, on my body, right? So the guf is very expressive. The nefesh is very expressive. And, look in the mirror. It's so simple. I'm telling you, it sounds silly, right? But it's so simple. You look in the mirror. Are you happy? Do you look well? No, you look terrible. You're not happy, but you're rushing out to chase the same thing. Look, so the derech yashar, and it applies here also, and I'm sorry to give you a very long answer, but this is the struggle. This point is very careful. Listen carefully on this point. He says, Isaac, derech yashar between the two kitzavot, right? The two extremes. I have an extreme behavior here and I have an extreme behavior here. What does he say? The derech yashar is to be right down the middle, right? Haim, to be right down the middle. What does it mean? I went this way, I bounced back. I went that way, I bounced back. So the fact is, the yoshed or the derech yashar is not yashar at all. You with me?
Does that mean you have to?
I have to go see and come back. See and come back. Right. Beauty.
Right?
Beauty.
Back to the middle.
Beauty. Beauty. What's the yoshed? Yoshed also means integrity. Yoshed means I'm fighting my way back. That's yoshed. To stay in the middle and not be pulled one, it's impossible. Yeah, exactly. Perfect. You're not taking chances. You're not risking anything. The yoshed means integrity. It means authenticity, right? I'm integrous. I'm an authentic person, right? To be an authentic person doesn't mean I'm a deadbeat and I'm not growing. Of course not. That would never be the case. But so the yoshed, the yashar means, yeah, I went to this extreme. Yeah, I went to that extreme. And that's what he said. Derech hayashar, to be in the emsa, it's almost oxymoronic.
Those are, it's funny, those are always the most amazing people you meet, right? Yeah. Sometimes you see, even take a rabbi, you sit with a rabbi, and you're like, how does he know? And the rabbi go, I wasn't always a rabbi, right? I was a businessman, or I was this and that. And they understand, they bend to both sides. And those people are intriguing, as opposed to just one type of person that can't understand you or has never been there, maybe through second hand, But, when you've been everywhere, you really can embrace the middle and take it to another level.
Beautiful, beautiful. And when you look at some of the giants, right? Hamur Chayalyahu, alav shalom, Hamad Yosef, alav shalom. These were men of the people. So, to your point, even if they didn't actually experience it, they engaged it fully. In other words, when Hamad Bajal would be talking to a couple, right? Let's say the couple started their relationship inappropriately according to halakha. He didn't say, stand over there. He didn't say stand over there. Emotionally, intellectually, philosophically, he didn't do that. He stepped into their world and he said, okay, this is where they are. Now I'm in their world. Now we're going to build them to a Torah world. He didn't talk to them from here to there. It's a massive difference. Because if he spoke to them from here to there, he would have told them, get out of the room. Or you're coming to tell me, for example, you want to get married after living together for 2 years? What kind of people are you? He would never say that. He would never say something like that. Of course not. What would he have done? He would have done nothing. The fact is they're standing here. They're fighting their way back to the middle, so to speak, right? They're looking for that derech yoshed, right? So he would step into their world, and that's exactly to your point. That's what we want to be doing. Okay, great. לא יפזר ממנו אלא נותן צדקה כפי מסת ידו ומלווה כראוי למי שצריך. לא יפזר ממנו אלא נותן צדקה כפי מסת ידו. What does that mean?
Don't disperse the money.
Huh? Don't just throw money. Don't just throw money here, there, and everywhere. Don't just throw money. Think about it. Because we know it's very important, and that's why we've learned that you should not give more than 20% of your money. Why? Because there's a galgal. There's a galgal. There will be, and we don't believe in mazal, no, but there's an alta force in the existence of all human beings, which says that everyone will go through ups and downs. Everyone will go through ups and downs. Why? Because that has to be. Why? Because in HaKadosh Baruch Hu's grand plan, his grand plan says that in order to get to the year 6,000, so to speak, right, Mashiach and beyond, the humanity has to be evolved and shaped and developed, and part of that overall development is for individuals and their children to go like this, on a financial level, right? That's just the way it is going to be. That's just the way it's going to be. That's part of the laws of nature, so to speak, of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's structure. Therefore, we're warned, and we said it's halachically not allowed to be mefazer, to throw your money away, to go crazy. What do you mean? There's 200 shlichim at my lobby. Okay, there is. But the maximum is 20%. That's it. That's the max. You're not allowed to go beyond it. That's it. That's it. Now, the person is lo alenu at the end of his life, and he wants to give away his money, and different conversation. Even then it's a question. Because if he hasn't gone through it, his children will. Shocking thing. You beat the bullet, so to speak, on this thing. Person beat the bullet. His kids are going to have their ups and downs too. That's the way of the world. It's the way of the world. Now I want to raise one other point on this thing. It's an important point. When we talk about, let's just jump back to Kibbutz Abayim for a minute and building our children. I find this to be a very, 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 very sensitive point. We all have fantastic kids. We do. We have fantastic kids. That's a fact. I'm not blowing smoke. We all know who we are. We all know what we've built. We all know who our spouses are. We have fantastic kids. How do you even express the feigned anger? Rambam is saying, don't ever speak or act out of actual anger. Ever. He mentions that in a number of other places. You hear the bar? You could spend your life getting this right. I think most people do. They spend their life trying to get this right. Don't ever, ever, ever act out of real anger. Ever. If you need to express, to fake anger, to make a point, fake it. But a faked anger is never going to be out of control. It's never going to be with words that the other person will never forget. And there's another element to this, that if somebody tramples on this thing, the world, the universe, I can't see, honey. With me, Isaac? The world, the universe will respond in kind. If a person expresses anger, acts angrily, he will be treated that way. Very big deal. It's a very big deal. Sometimes the people who don't run to say kapara on things, which is not serious, the people who are more serious, will look at themselves and say, why? Why? Why am I going through this? You know why you're going through this? Because you were semi-enraged at that point. You were judgmental and angry at that point. It's a very big deal because, kids are going to make mistakes. They're going to do the wrong thing, and we need to tell them. So if I need to tell my son he did the wrong thing, they used to say the American perspective is count to 10, right? Don't ever express anything with it. The Torah perspective is wait 3 days. Wait 3 days, right? Where do we learn from? We learn from the Shlosh Yemei Hagbala with Matan Torah. We needed 3 days of prep, right? We learn it with the 3 days that Abraham and Yitzchak went to Har Moriah for the Akedah. So we have a rule. And my father, alav shalom, he always followed this rule. Amazing. I don't know that he got it from a hardcore Torah perspective, but when someone would come to him, blasting about the synagogue, this or that, okay, he wouldn't become He says, okay, I'll get back to you. I said, Daddy, what are you doing? Guy's going crazy. He goes, listen to me, son. We never respond in less than 3 days, And more likely than not, he's going to forget about it. And most of the time they did. But as a personal perspective, and again, I'm speaking to myself first, because you're at the early stages, and Isaac hasn't gotten to that place yet. Inshallah, you will. But as our children get older, the issues become much more complex, infinitely more complex. Infinitely more complex. An adult child, a child who's a parent of his own children, and we're still very engaged in their lives. You know, the Americans have an easier model where the kids move to Oklahoma.
18, go.
Go, they're out. The parent makes a disclaimer. I have no obligations to you. The kid says, thanks, Mom and Dad, for all you did for me. I'll see you. It's much easier. It's an empty life, but it's much easier. But we stay in our children's lives till the end. So an 80-year-old father is parenting a 60-year-old son who has 40-year-old children. How complicated is that? And the 60-year-old is absolutely lined into his father. If the father sneezes the wrong way, the 60-year-old starts to cry. That's what it should be, right? We learned it in Kibbutz Avayim. So it shows you when we talk about de'ot, perspectives, mindsets, paradigms, how do I look at the world? How do I look at the world? And this is a massive piece, because I can't be benign. I can't be opinionless, right? We have core values that are Torah values. As we've talked about, we have core family values. Our family, the Dweck family, has core family values. These are mommy and my values. These were grandma and grandpa's values, whatever they might be. They may go back to the end of time. Well, you know what? They may be ours right now. And they can't be trampled on. And I really am angry. Let's say I really am. And now we have a bigger challenge, because we have this amazingly productive but amazingly destructive element of a text message. So it's not about, like it was in the old days, calling my son, saying, son, let's get together and talk. Now I can spew my anger in a text message.
There's no way to make, if you really do feel passionate about something, right? There's no way to make a great argument is when you're cool, right? Then you really, you see people sometimes making a great argument without thought.
Yeah.
Once you do that, it's over. It really, your train of thought's gone. You don't even sound. Right. You don't know what's coming out of your mouth.
That's right. You don't know what's coming out of your mouth.
And so you're not protecting anything. You're not bringing your point across the right way anyway.
Yeah. Very, very, very big thing. The texting and that exacerbates this challenge. And we have to know we never, ever act out of anger. Ever, ever, ever. And we have to know ourselves well enough to say we really are angry. Sometimes we can't ourselves say, I'm not angry. You are. You're enraged. You're just not showing it on your face that minute, but you're enraged. So don't ever, 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 ever send that text message. Ever. It's something that, again, I raise my hands first. I really do. I'm not an angry guy by nature. I'm a very principled person. And I feel very, very strongly about my principles, and I'm very frontal with them, to my children and like that. Okay. But you know what? My father was very principled, and we trampled on plenty of his principles, plenty times. But at the end of the day, am I a stamp of my father? Overwhelmingly, yes. For good reason. For good reason. And my mother, of course, right? So this is a very, very sensitive thing. The anger thing is very sensitive. We can't be benign, and we can't be principle-less. Person with no principles. We have to be fierce in our principles, but we have to be very, very careful. Okay. Good. Okay. Great. Ketzad, Mishu medaktek al atzmo biyoter. Amin halacha hey. Mishu, isn't it spectacular? I just want to jump out of the book a minute. That Rambam would write this way. Isn't it remarkable that the greatest of the greatest in halacha would write this way? It just shows you that halacha is not laws, it's about building people. Halakha is about refining the soul, building the soul, right? And therefore, this applies. Would you write this in a secular legal tract?
Never.
You wouldn't, because it doesn't apply. You'd say, what is this mushy stuff doing here? But the mushy stuff is the stuff, right? It's all about that. So that's why he can write like this. It's gorgeous. Mishu medaktek al atzmo biyoter, right? Person who really watches himself. Bitrahek mid'ah benonit me'at tzad zu tzad zu nikra hasid. 1 second. What is that?
Someone who's distancing himself from the opinion of the middle road a little bit to one side or the other side. He's called the Hasid.
Beautiful, Chaim. What does that mean? What do I need to be called a Hasid? A saintly person? What do I need? Do I need to go live in the forest and just, eat berries? What I need is to just move myself a trap more in a certain direction. Because what do I want to be? Chacham? I want to be a Hasid, but I never want to be a Nazirish type person. I don't want to be like a Nazir. Right? That I don't want to be. And I want to be careful where I embrace Midat Hasidut. I also need to be careful. So the first thing I need to understand is Yoshed Izzy Levy coined this phrase beautifully at one of his boys. He said the Yashad is the heat-seeking missile, meaning that he's going to go here and find his way back to the middle, and go there and find his way back to the middle. Because to your point a little while ago, he's growing, he's reaching, he's going to new frontiers, new territory. Invariably, he's not going to get to the middle of the road immediately because he doesn't know what the road looks like, right? So you could take the approach of, don't put me on the road so I don't have a problem. If you don't put me on the road, I'll never go to one extreme. And that's what some people do. Leave me alone.
Ignorance is bliss.
Huh? Ignorance is bliss. Perfect. Ignorance is bliss. Perfect. Don't tell me I don't want to know. Because you tell me, I have to struggle with it. Rambam would say, and the Rav Soloveitchik wrote about this, the Rav, who was a spectacular Maimonidean scholar, he writes that life has to be friction. That's how he described it. Friction. And friction is a good thing. It's an absolute must. It means I'm growing. He didn't say peace of mind, contentment, he didn't talk about those things. He said that this is what it has to be. So, if a person who's a yashad is that heat-seeking missile, so to speak, which means he invariably will end up at one extreme or the other, of course he will. But he's going to claw back. She's going to find her way back. She's going to cry and pray and apologize and try again and fail again and find their way back to the middle. And then because they want to grow some more into uncharted territory, they're going to end up in another place that's this extreme or that. And then they're going to fight and claw and build. When does it end? Chacham? When we leave the planet. Right? My father told me one time, he said it once to me. I'll never forget it. I was so shocked and frightened by it. He said, "I'm tired, son." I said, "Daddy, you're not tired." It was probably when I drove him nuts on something dumb, No, he was old enough to be tired. He was probably 85, He was probably 85 at the time. I said, "Daddy, you're not tired." He never said it again. And I was so frightened and shaken when he said it. My father tired? Was he entitled to be tired at 85? He was more than entitled to be tired, but no way. No way, because tired thing is not the thing. We don't do that tired thing. It's not part of who we are. He said, "I'm tired." I said, "Oh my God. Oh my God. You're tired? Impossible. I'm scared stiff." You're 50 years old. Don't be scared stiff. Grow up. I'm not growing up. You stay, my father. I'm not accepting the tired. I'm not growing up. So this is how we have to be. Are we going to end up in this extreme or that extreme? God willing, yes. We fight our way back to the middle. If we find the middle and we want to do a little bit better, be a little bit more refined, a little bit more aggressive or matmid in that action, that's midat chasidut. I want to say one more time, something God willing at some point we'll learn in depth, but never ever, midat chasidut never applies in business. It does not apply in business. I'm going to say it again. It has brought massive pain into people's lives. Massive pain, massive. And we have to, when someone's in a position where they don't know what to do, and they must seek outside objective advice, because when you go into the frying pan, what's the Western expression? When you jump into the frying pan, you act like the fire in the frying pan. I don't remember. If you're not willing to get burned, I don't know. I don't remember what it is. But in an aggressive business environment, you with me, Joe? In an aggressive business environment in which we all live, we have to go by the laws of that world. And midat chasidut, saintly behavior in business, is overwhelmingly misinterpreted, and people will pay heavily and lose massively when they overcompensate, when they over this, when they over that.
For example,
For an example, I'll give you an example. Somebody did what he was supposed to do, and the investment went bad. He says, I'll give you back your money. 1 second. Show me your monthly statements. Show me your quarterly statements. I see from your statements that you did everything okay, but you misjudged the market. Okay, that's why we're in business, not a machine. You're going to make your best call. But when the person says, I'll give you back your money, what's implied?
I made a mistake.
Huh?
He made a mistake. It's his fault.
More than it's my fault. Not that I made a mistake. I made a mistake is inherent in the fact that you're not getting back your money. I giving you back your money, it means I did something wrong. Now I've already cast myself as a wrongdoer. Was I a wrongdoer? Did I attempt to steal somebody's money? If I did, I'm a wrongdoer. I'm not talking about that guy. I'm talking about the guy who wants to go ma'al lifnim mishrat tabdin and says, I'm sorry it happened, I'm going to give you your money back. People are people, and what do they assume right away? Oh, he's giving me my money back because he played around. He did something wrong. And now, it's not the money they invested with him, it's their money that he took from them. And now, every day that goes by that they don't get it back from the failed investment, where's the money going to come from? So every day that goes by that they don't get it back, you're holding my money, you're a criminal. How did we get to this point? You invested money with me, the market changed. Oh, you know how we got here, Mr. Jones? Because you said, I'll give you the money back. You acted lifnei mishrat hadin. Now, if you did something wrong, you should give the money back. But if you didn't do something wrong, when you give the money back, you give the impression that you did. And now, you're holding my money. You don't give me my money, I'm gonna ruin your life. 2 days ago, it was money you invested in me. By the way, you signed the investors agreement. You have no rights to this money. What agreement? You invalidated the agreement by saying you'll give me back my money. Oh, now there's somebody else down the block who also invested. I want my money back too. Now the guy puts himself in a position where he has non-producing property, let's say. Where's he going to get the money from? And now it's a cascade of people who want the same thing. That's wrong. And people have done it, and people are paying massively for it. And their lives are being just to a mind-boggling level. Because the money that was invested with you, that was at risk, is no longer money that I invested with you. It's money that you took from me, and every day you don't give it back to me, I'm going to scream, I'm going to yell, I'm going to disparage you, I'm going to say filthy things about you because you're holding my money. And nobody's allowed to hold my money. We forgot the premise of the investment. We forgot all that stuff. So it's hard to be in business when you're a good person. And it doesn't mean you should be a bad person, but you play by the rules of the game. The rules of the game are that there's a level of risk here. I reported to you every quarter. I did what I was supposed to do. The investment went bad. I'm sorry. Would the person invest with you again? Maybe yes, maybe no. Okay, let's even say no. But if you go with Mishurat Adin, now he thinks you're a crook. And we have it in the community. One man who learned with me a number of years ago had this magnificent home out here. It was a dream home. No, a dream home. Not fancy over the top, just one of these beautiful, special, he worked his whole life. And when things got tough, he told everybody, I'm going to take care of you, I'm going to take care of you. Now, he's moving from one rental to the other. The home is long gone. Sold at 20% of today's value. It's worth 5 times what he sold it for, and he sold it a couple of years ago, 7, 8 years ago, right? It's worth several times what he sold it for. He'll never get it back. And he's bouncing from one rental to the next. Why? Because he felt he had to make good for the other guy, this, that, because emotionally, this, that. You didn't go into business to act with your emotion. You go into business to act with your head. So if Mishurat Adin is something we tout and we consider, but we engage very gingerly, very, 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 very cautiously. Very cautiously, because people will be hurt by it. Okay, let's keep going. Okay. Skip down to Zion. How does a person start to own certain healthy perspectives? Ya'aseh, v'yeshaneh, v'yeshalesh ma'asim she'oseh. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Mind-boggling. Illogical. Tell me, what's the order, Joe? Ya'aseh, yeshaneh, yeshalesh ma'asav. What does he do first, Isaac? Ya'aseh. What does that mean? He does it. 1 second. And then I learn more about it? Yeah. It's ready, fire, aim. Ya'aseh, v'yeshaneh, v'yeshalesh, right?
Ya'aseh to do.
Do it.
Yishtaneh
to study it, to understand it, and then do it again. Awesome. What do you mean?
1, 2, 3.
Huh?
1, 2, 3.
Right, but you would think it should be the opposite. Study, know all the ins and outs, and then do it. No, that's not Na'aseh v'nishma. Na'aseh v'nishma. Na'aseh v'nishma. Na'aseh v'nishma. Yeah, jump in the water. You're going to make some mistakes. Figure it out. So Ya'aseh v'yeshaneh v'yeshalesh. You do something. You don't fully understand. Okay, you know that you should make this beracha that you haven't made in the past. Or you should say this tefillah you haven't said in the past. You fully understand the tefillah, you don't fully understand the tefillah. So if I don't fully understand it, the Western perspective is, if I don't fully understand it, I'm not going to do it. No. B'toch shelo lishma. It's a sister perspective to the perspective of, even if I don't fully understand what I'm doing, do it. Do it. Get in the game. Get in the game. Yeah? So it's beautiful. Ya'aseh, v'yeshaneh, v'yeshalesh, b'ma'asim she'oseh, al pi ha'de'ot ha'emsayot, v'yachzor behem tamid, ad shiyu ma'asehem kalim alav, v'lo yeh behem torach alav, yikpu'u ha'de'ot b'nafsho. Do it, learn it, go back at it. Keep going. This is how we find this beautiful middle road. Nikrad derech zu, what do we call it? Jaime? Derech Hashem. It's the road of God. It's not the place. We're never at the place. We're always on the road. When we use the terms like that, la'atot atzmo, like we saw in Hilchot Teshuva, to lean into something and to begin to walk down the road. I'm always on the road. I'm never fully there. I'm in derech Hashem. I'm walking in that place. I'm growing. I'm changing. I'm becoming forever. Avraham Avinu the banav shneimar ki dativ. You will know him over time. You will relate to him over time. Va'olech b'derech zeh mevi tova ubracha da'atzmo l'man shneimar l'man hevi Hashem al Avraham et asher diber alav. What does HaKadosh Baruch Hu tell Avraham Avinu? It's so gorgeous. What did he tell Avraham Avinu? Lech lecha. Go. Start walking. Start building. Let me ask you something, God. Why don't you take the 75-year-old man and tell him, listen, you've sacrificed your life for me. You know a ton, right? Let's sit here, learn together. You've reached a prophetic level. Let's sit here and learn together. And then you complete your tachlit as the greatest, right? He says, no. You're 75, you did a ton, much more than most. You're my champion in the world. Now start your journey. Right? Lech lecha. Who are you going for? You're going for you. Right? You're going for you. Atcha. I went already. Didn't I go already? Let me be where I am. Right? Doesn't work. It's always lech lecha. Always. Nobody could ever be tired. My father said he was tired because I was probably driving him crazy about some dumb idea that I had or something like that. But you can't ever be tired. There's no be tired, right? Ha'olech b'derech zeh mevi tova ubracha. Ha'olech b'derech zeh. Rambam, you have to be makpid on every word. Ha'olech b'derech zeh, Joe, what does that mean? You're walking on the road. You didn't get there. You're just following the road. It's developmental. You're succeeding. You're falling back. You're being tripped up. Mevi tova ubracha la'atzmo. Shneimar l'man mevi Hashem al Avraham. When did HaKadosh Baruch Hu bring the beracha to Abraham? He never got there. You don't ever get there. Right? Never get there, fully get there. Of course not. The beracha comes from being on the road. It's just gorgeous. Okay. Maybe we'll pause here. I want to just express my gratitude and appreciation for the learning we shared over the summer. It was really, really special. Really special. Beautiful. It was beautiful. We covered some important things on a serious level, and it means an immense amount to me personally. I want to thank you all so very much. Dear Isaac, got here at the crack of dawn every day. Moved the chairs, did the thing. It changed everything. It changes everything. It means so much. And it changes the learning, and it changes a person's day.
So, it changed me too, Rabbi. So
thank you.
I remember the first week. It was rough, right?
We